Hello everyone. So it has been a while since I looked at your comments and questions. So today let us take a look at some of the questions that I received on my channel. Now the first question is from Marco, and Marco is asking about which is this notepad you are using for script with autocomplete options for class. So I'm basically using IntelliJ, and Marco is actually asking about the autocomplete feature. And of course, I'm using IntelliJ when I'm writing scripts, Groovy scripts on my local Jira environment. The next question I want to read is from Amazon. It is not really a name, maybe it is a real name, but the question is about how can I get Jira. Mine says Jira software and it doesn't have any add-ons. Now I need some context to answer this. So if you're asking about how can you get Jira, the most simplest thing that you can do is of course sign up for a cloud instance, which is free for few users, so you can always sign up and get yourself an account. And talking about apps or add-ons, you can always go to marketplace and look for the add-ons. This comment was received on my script runner for Jira video. So in case you are trying to do some automation, you do have some automation capabilities on the cloud, but you can always take a look at the capabilities of different apps and add-ons when you go to the marketplace. The next question is from Venkatesh Varlu, and Venkatesh is asking about please make a video on a Jira data center application installation in any Linux environment with 2 cluster with 2 nodes on each. I would like to make a video on data center, but to be honest, when you install Jira on Linux, for example, it doesn't really matter if you are setting it up for data center or server. The installation process is not really different. There are a few configurations that are of course specific to data center. When you have a data center specific license, you have the option to of course configure your nodes, but installation is not really that different. So if I make a video on installation, I will definitely cover this data center aspect as well. So I'll probably take one more question, maybe a couple of more questions from few other users. Now the next question is from Anantha Satyanarayana, and Anantha is asking about we have 3 environments for our Jira, production Jira, QA Jira and dev Jira, and I'll not really read the whole question, but the question is all about how can I link these 3 instances together, because he's saying that he is getting an error about the application or these 3 applications having the same ID. Now what you can do, Ananta, is you can always, if you have of course a paid license, I believe it should be more than 25 users, not really the starter license. If you have a paid user license, you can always go and get a developer license or a license that you can use on your test environment. So do that. I think using that method you should be able to create application links and between these instances. But to be honest, I'm not exactly sure about this, whether you can create application links between dev environment and the production counterpart. So I think I will also have to get back on this. I'll probably try it myself, but of course you can always get a separate license for your dev environment. So let us take a look at other questions. So there is one question from Herculator, and Herculator is asking about looking forward to a video from you doing a deep dive on REST endpoints, present a business problem, and then craft the solution. Definitely, Herculator, that is always my intention. The challenge is that I don't really have a lot of time, although I make videos every day, but I have limited time every day, and in that limited time I always try to create a video, although my videos are short and they focus on a specific topic, but whenever I get a chance I also try to create videos covering different use cases and spending a bit more time. And if you're following my channel, I hardly do any editing. In fact, most of my 99% of my videos are one-take videos, and if I have to present a business problem with a solution as well, it is a bit difficult for me to do it in just one go in one video, and as I mentioned, I don't really have time to cover a lot of things in just one video and also make that video presentable by doing a lot of editing. So I try to usually break up things, and if you are following my channel, I have different playlists, and that is what I do. So in this particular case, talking about REST endpoints, on my channel I have plenty of videos on REST API, and in each and every video I cover different aspects, like how to do this in Jira, how to do this in Jira using, of course, different REST endpoints, and I may think of some business problem using, of course, those different small problems which I have already talked about. So thank you very much, Herculator. Your comments are always valuable. So I will answer one more question, and that question is from Ramakrishna Dasari, and he is asking about, can you please explain briefly on story points? What exactly story points mean and why we use it? So I understand this question because when you are using story points for the very first time, it can be a bit confusing, and I have talked about story points in the past, but let me try to answer you in maybe a couple of minutes. So when you estimate stories, so we are talking about stories because let us say you are using Jira software. So in Jira software you have out of the box epics, and epics can be linked to stories, but of course you're not really limited to stories. You can always use your own custom issue type. But if you're talking about estimation in let us say Jira, using Jira software, you don't have to use Jira. I'm just using this example of Jira because it will make sense, and many people who follow my channel can relate to it, and they can visualize how it is done in Jira software. So story point is nothing but a way to estimate based on the complexity. So let us say you are doing your sprint planning meeting, and you are sitting with your team. Let us say you have your developers, testers, and basically your team who will be working on different activities maybe in the next 2 weeks. So you basically take a look at each and every story that you want to deliver, and you ask the developer the complexity. So let us say if you are working on a login functionality. Now for an experienced developer, a login functionality, or let us say you have to create a login page with some backend, of course, or maybe some validation. So for an experienced developer, it can be a simple task that can be done maybe in 3 hours, and because he or she has done it many times before, So for that particular developer, senior developer, to work on this functionality, to deliver the story, it is not really a complex task, and at the same time it won't take too long. So let us say the complexity is 2 for that developer for that particular functionality. But for someone junior who has never really done this before, it can be maybe 6 or 7. Now, this is something that of course depends on the person who is working and your team capability, your team skills. There are different ways of estimation. Apart from, of course, number of hours, story point is something that you can use because you have this estimation that you can do based on some other reference. People use story points. They also use Fibonacci series. Like they don't use just random numbers. They sometimes have some increments. Like you can start with, of course, 1, then maybe 2, then maybe 3, and maybe 5, and so on. You can also use t-shirt sizes, for example, in case you want something visual. Like for example, if you have to deliver login functionality, the complexity, or let us say the estimation can be, let us say, small size, or maybe medium size or large size. People also use animals. It could be, let us say, a rabbit, or maybe a goat, or maybe an elephant. So the whole idea here is to have a way for your team to relate to that particular activity, that particular story that they have to deliver in 2 weeks. And of course, as I mentioned before, it also depends really on your team's capability. In the beginning, it can be a bit confusing, but when you start using story points, after some time, your team will get used to it, and you will also realize and you will also come to know, if you are, let us say, a scrum master or a project manager managing your team, you will also learn a lot about how to use these story points. Story points in Jira, of course, it is a numerical field, and when you're using a number, it really helps in building reports. For example, let us say you have estimation based on t-shirt sizes, small, medium, large. So you can always map it to numbers, like small can be 2, medium can be 5, large can be, let us say, 8 or 7, whatever. And when you have these numbers in your backlog, in your sprint, you can build reports based on these numbers. For example, for a specific sprint, maybe you think collectively as a team that you can deliver stories worth 25 story points, but you end up delivering 20 in your first sprint. In second sprint, you learn something. You also know about your team capabilities, and you also know, based on the work that you are doing as a team, that for similar activities, maybe collectively my team can deliver 22 or 21. So as you gain more experience and as you deliver more work, you will come to know about your team's capacity. And there are reports in Jira, like velocity chart, that talks about your team's capacity. You have reports like burn down chart, and all these reports are basically based on some number. In case you're using story points, it makes lot sense, but you don't have to use story points in Jira software. You can always use number of hours, and you can configure your board to look for or to read and build reports based on a number of hours, or it could be issue count. But in case you're trying to follow agile practices, in case you're trying to follow Scrum, do try story points. It can definitely help you, and in the beginning it can be a bit confusing, but try and watch more videos online, read more about it. So this is all I wanted to these are all the questions that I wanted to cover in this video, in today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.